There's young Dexter Stacy to the inside, and the 55. He's having himself a good little run here today, up to 11th spot as he takes advantage of the problems that the 3 car is having. As we take a look back at the front of the field, there's Pete Shepard underneath good friend J.R. Fitzpatrick as they continue to dice it up. But Fitzpatrick, he too has been sliding back since the drop of the green.
Wow, Shepard drove it in turn 3 a mile and made it stick on the 84.
J.R. Fitzpatrick now back to 8th spot as the H of Don Thompson Jr. gets around him. 2 former teammates now in different cars. Of course, J.R. Fitzpatrick still with the Chevrolet. Don Thompson Jr. now driving a Dodge as they run nose to tail. But look at this battle here between the 22 of Scott Steckly, the 02 of Kerry Mix, and the 7 of Peter Shepard.
Wow, did you see Kerry Mix hug that inside apex? That car hooked the bottom hard. Watch this right here. See, he can turn right under the 22, but he can't pick the throttle up because the 22's in his way. This won't last long. Mixie will get the spot.
So they follow each other nose to tail. The 22 of Scott Steckly pushes up. And there you hear the clear as Kerry Mix unable to get that jump off the corner that he needed to get his nose underneath the 22 of Steckly. As we take a look at the top spot, your leader continues to be the Bill Mathews Motors, number 15 of Steven Mathews, but he has last year's champion, DJ Kennington, and the Castro Ledge Challenger all over his back bumper.
Watch the 17 roll in. See, stays up about half a car width higher than Mathews, cuts the bottom, and comes hard off on the bottom trying to get the spot. We'll be back with more after this from Mosport. Don't go away.
The battle for the lead is heating up as we work lap 45 here in Mosport for the season opener of the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. Young Steven Mathews continues to pace the field, but look at DJ Kennington get into the back of him. Scott Steckly is right there as well.
Well, DJ got underneath the 15 a couple times, but now he's starting to block the spot. And you've seen the 22 of Steckly get in the back of the DJ Kennington automobile as well. We're about to get into lap traffic. That's the 07 of Tremblay, and she become a factor here as they fight for the lead.
Well, we were talking to Steven Mathews before the race. He and his crew preaching patience, and he didn't wait very long for Tremblay to get out of the way, but it cost him the lead as DJ Kennington managed to go around on the outside. So a new leader here at Mosport. It is the 17 of DJ Kennington.
Well, the veteran DJ was ready to pounce. I made the call, said the lap car would be the problem, and bang, the 15 followed the lap car in. DJ hauled the mail around the outside, took the top spot.
And we'll take another look at what happened moments ago. This from onboard Scott Steckly's car.
Well, we talked about it where the 15 chopped down and the 17 had to brake check him up a little bit. The 22 walloped our camera into the back of the 17.
Yeah, that's one camera for the garbage, but Scott Steckly doesn't care as he takes a look now for second spot underneath the 15 of Steven Mathews. It looks like Mathews is starting to slip and slide around this half-mile Mosport oval, and now he's sliding all the way back to third. Pete Shepard tries to take advantage, but has to back out of it.
Man, he slammed the door shut. Now, Dave, remember we talked about it on the opening about the communication between the crew chief and the driver. This is what's going on right now. You know, they were the fastest in practice. Practice doesn't pay anything. You got to communicate and get that car to haul on the long run. Fast isn't comfortable. They've got everybody else's car comfortable. Mathews will have to make a change on his first pit stop.
And Jason Whitey is back out. You saw 21 laps down to the leader. It was an oil leak. Now, what was leaking, and this has got to be frustrating, is the line that goes to the oil pressure gauge, of all things.
Something that has no real mechanical function. It's an instrument to tell the driver when there's a problem, and there's an idiot light on it as well. And you know what? Derek Lynch and his dad Dave prepare awesome race cars. They're probably pulling their hair out right about now. Probably a $5 fitting messed up this race.
Well, you know what this is now? This is now an extended test session for that 21 team. They'll be able to ride around here with the leaders, see how fast they are, and problems for the 9 of Mark Dilley. You saw that grill punched in at the front, and Dilley is behind the wall. The crew will have to take a look at that, but Mark Dilley looks as though we'll be sitting back here for quite some time.
Reno Martinelli having a look in there. He's pointing down at the radiator. He's talking to the guys in the radio. They'll get repairs done and get that car back out for points, that's for sure. Now we got a pass for lead. The 22 goes to the bottom in turn 3.
Lap 57 and Scott Steckly is your new leader in 3 and 4. DJ Kennington will tuck in behind, but you can see the gap, and whoa, almost problems for the 8 car of Don Thompson Jr. He gathers it back up, and not before losing a couple positions.
The veteran Don Thompson Jr. You know, any lesser driver would have put a whole bunch of concrete all over the front of that race car. He dove down into the bottom, got chopped off, and he was so hard in the brake that the car unloaded. And all of a sudden, when it unloaded, it turned right on him. Don Thompson, nice catch.
And what's great about here at Mosport, too, is the distance that you have in the corners, so you're able to gather it up and avoid catastrophe, as Don Thompson Jr. did. One driver who's out of today's running is Mark Dilley. Todd standing by.
Yeah, guys, Mark Dilley's out of the car. He's letting the Rheem Parts Source guys put a new radiator in. Mark, this has been a frustrating couple of trips to this track.
Yeah, it has. Looks like we picked up something off the racetrack and went right through the rod. I don't know. Hopefully I got the motor shut down in time. We didn't hurt it too bad, but I don't know. We're going to fire it here, get a rat in, see where it's at, but it doesn't look good, unfortunately.
Fingers across to see if Mark Dilley can get back into this one. Guys, he blew up a motor during testing here at Mosport just a couple of weeks ago.
Wow, that's kind of an expensive start to the year. Whoa, Don Thompson Jr. in the 15, hard at it down in turn 3. Mathews pinched him down. Donnie put a little tire mark on him. Just got the spot nice and gentle going down into turn 1.
That's a battle for 5th spot. Don Thompson Jr. will take it going into 1, and J.R. Fitzpatrick wanted a share of that as well. Maybe memories of earlier on in the race when Steven Mathews laid the bumper to the 84 car to push him out of the way. Now J.R. Fitzpatrick's back and said, hey, remember me?
We got to remember, we're deep enough into this race right now. We've been hard on the brakes. We've been hard on the tires. 2 things Mosport eats up. That's the right rear tire and the disc brake pads.
And the 55 of Dexter Stacy goes a lap down. He's running in 12th position, hoping for the VTEC free pass. If, in fact, we do go to caution here, we have had a huge block of green flag laps here at Mosport. That's sort of uncharacteristic.
Well, this track usually is so competitive and fast that people do get into trouble. Oh, here's another problem. Hugo Veniti out of the race.
Yeah, from Quebec, he generally runs here at Mosport, just running a limited schedule here in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. You see him taking his helmet off, his Hans device off as well. His day is done in the 97.
Isabelle Tremblay once more down the bottom, 3 wide into turn 1.
Oh, the leader in heavy, heavy traffic. And up to 9th spot is Scott Steckly lapping. That's Jeff Lapsevich in the 23. The Tim Hortons Dodge, a new motor combination, new body style combination for that team as well this year. So Jeff Lapsevich hoping to turn some of the Mopar money into profit this year for the 23 team.
There we are, halfway.
And it's been quick to the Tim Hortons halfway update. We've had 4 leaders so far. Just the 1 caution period lasted for 5 laps, so a long time ago it seems now. And one notable, the 19 car, Brad Graham, pitted back on lap 8 during that caution.
Well, depending on the number of cautions, if pitting that early, and depending on tire wear, he could go the distance, or he could get some track position, making a late race pit stop.
Yeah, this race sort of is playing into his hand because he did pit so long ago, and off sequence of any of the other drivers. As you take a look at the 5 car, Pete Vanderweest in 9th spot as he ducks underneath the 23 of Jeff Lapsevich. Good to see the 5 team back. Kevin Dowler ran the CASCAR series many, many years ago. His son Noel is going to run the road courses, and Pete, he's no slouch in a car, and he can get around here very quickly.
Pete, a very, very seasoned veteran, very good friend of DJ Kennington's, run out of that shop, obviously, and they need some tutoring for young Noel, and Peter Vanderweest is going to fill that void for them this year.
There's your 3rd place driver, Pete Shepard. He continues to chase DJ Kennington. Scott Steckly's your leader here at Mosport. Welcome back to the Dickies 200 here at Mosport Speedway. Round number 1 of the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series here in 2011. Still under green. Just 1 caution has slowed the field so far this evening. And the leader continues to be the 22 of Scott Steckly.
Well, he's putting distance on the field almost every lap. Look how soft he's got that thing sprung. He's flying the nose all the way down the straightaway.
And this happened just moments ago. The 82 of Dave Connolly, his car getting pushed behind the wall. Looks like motor issues on the Schneider's Dodge.
Well, it's too bad. He's had some tough luck in his first outing. He told us he's going to run 7 to 8 shows this year, getting his feet wet here in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series.
And that is a car formerly driven by Mark Dilley last year here in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. So it knows how to get around here at Mosport. just like the 22 of Scott Steckly. He continues to put a beating on this field, stretching a big gap on second place runner, the 17 of DJ Kennington. There he is in the Castrol Dodge Charger as they put a lap around the outside of Pete Vanderweest in the Emco Ford. And there's Steven Mathews, a leader just a few laps ago, now a lap down.
Well, we talked about communication and setup for the long run. Practice doesn't pay a thing. These long runs are tough. You got to keep the brakes under it. You got to keep the right rear on it. Because these cars, we run them so loose here to get them to turn the middle. It gets awful tough on the right rear.
Yeah, you mentioned the right rear. Does the right front play a role too? Because you see the cars pushing up in the middle of the corner to try and dive it off here. How much does that affect it?
That's driver feel. You gotta allow the car just to be a little pushy, but you know, a loose race car is fast. If it pushes, you gotta wait for it in the corner. You gotta wait for the front to drop, and then you can turn it, come off the ground. A loose car, you can get to the gas pedal and turn it with the throttle.
And this has got to be frustrating to that man, Jason Hathaway. He's all the way back in 13th position. He started up in the top half of the field with a 6th place starting position, but the Rockstar Dodge is just off tune, and they have problems. They just haven't got a caution, and now they will get it. It's Steven Mathews and Dexter Stacy who go around up in 1 and 2. And Mathews gets it right, and he heads in the right direction, but Dexter Stacy sliding through that wet grass. We talked about the rain, and that is going to affect him. Well, it looks like Vanderweest got into the 15 of Steven Mathews. That's the reason for the caution, and then Stacy comes in afterwards. They hit fairly hard on right front to left front.
Definite suspension damage to the 55 of Dexter Stacy, and we're coming to pit road. The leader, the 22, Scott Steckly.
And it looks like tires on the right side for the leader of Steckly. There is Kennington. He'll find his pit box, and J.R. Fitzpatrick will duck in just in front of Scott Steckly. But look at how tight this pit road is.
Very tight pit road. DJ Kennington, he'll get right side tires the first time around. You'll see most of these guys go back around and get fuel on the second stop. Fitzpatrick's gone the other way. He'll get fuel first. He'll come back around and get right side tires on the next lap.
And there was trouble on the right rear. There it is. You can see them grabbing an extra air wrench as they try to get that right rear tire put on. So problems for the air gun on the 22 of Scott Steckly. This is going to be heartbreaking for the leader. He'll come out well back of your new leader, DJ Kennington, as they'll make their second round of stops, looking for fuel this time here at Mosport.